The Markt, Market Square, is the beating heart of a city. In Maastricht, this is where, ever since the 17th century, an important part of common life has been taking place. On the square, a market is still held twice a week. Ever since the Middle Ages, markets have been providing economic activity. The Mosweev statue, in the southwestern corner of the square, reminds of the characteristic 19th century vegetable woman of St. Peter. The City Hall is situated in the middle of the square. Ever since the mid-17th century, the city has been governed from this classicistic Baroque building. Until the 19th century, the City Hall was also the place where justice was administered. Punishments, like the death penalty, were carried out at the Markt. In front of the City Hall, next to the double flight of steps, was, among other things, a pillory. The executions of punishments attracted many spectators. The Markt has always served as a meeting place. Until the late 60s of last century, the fair was held at the Market Square. Nowadays, other large events are held at the Markt, such as the start of the cycling classic Amstel Gold Race. When the city expanded in the northern direction, during the Middle Ages, the Markt became the new city centre. The earlier city centres were situated around St. Servatius Church and the Church of Our Lady. Within the first city wall, which ran straight across the current Market Square, was a growing lack of space. At the end of the 13th century, the Laken Hall, Clothmaker's Hall, was built onto the inside of the first city wall near the Markt. This was where, until the end of the 16th century, the cloth trade took place. Furthermore, at official functions, the Laken Hall was the seat of the city administration, and around the hall, the Saturday markets, horse markets, cattle markets and wood markets were held. Halfway through the 17th century, the city council wanted a new city hall. The city hall had to radiate authority. That is why Dutch architect Pieter Post thought that the government building should be located in the middle of a large square. The demolition of the dilapidated city wall, with its two gates, and the removal of the Laken Hall created a square, the Markt. Immediately, there was much discussion about the layout of the Markt. There was disagreement within the city council about the exact location of the city hall. The government was made up of representatives of the Prince Bishop of Liège and the Duke of Brabant. The Brabant people preferred the Dutch tradition of building a city hall in the middle of the square. The Liège people wanted to build it at the edge of the square, like they had done in Liège. Eventually, the city hall was not built exactly in the centre of the Markt. In his design, Pieter Post drew 3 closed walls around the square. The only opening was situated between the Markt and Bosstraat. But with the planting of a row of trees, this opening was closed as well. In 1904, the statue of Minkelers was erected there. This statue reminds of Jan Pieter Minkelers' 1783 discovery of gaslight from coal. In 1932, the closed row of houses on the east side was broken through for the construction of the Wilhelmina Bridge. The block of houses between the Hoenderstraat and Hubelstraat was entirely demolished. For decades, the site lay fallow. During the 60s and 70s, office buildings and a parking garage were built there. In 2005, the Markt was redesigned following Pieter Post's ideas. The Markt is now a car-free zone, and the 4 sides are closed again. The old symbol of authority of the City Hall in the enclosed square is restored. There is also enough space again for meetings and economic activity.